In the 2020 Sonic the Hedgehog film, in the opening sequence there is a street named Mega Drive, which is the of Sega's console that featured many of the early Sonic games. In this 2006 cat and mouse thriller about an undercover cop and a mole in the police force who tries to identify each other before a character meets his fate, an X is always visible on screen. In the film The Dark Knight, a name tag can be seen on Joker nurse outfit that reads Matilda. It's a nod to Heath Ledger's daughter's name. In Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the characters drive by Club Obi-Wan, a restaurant and nightclub located in Vogelsel Street on Coruscant. It is a reference to Star Wars. In Spider-Man: Homecoming, MJ can be seen reading a book called Of Human Bondage, which is about an orphan boy who is sent to live with his aunt and uncle. It's basically the same thing that happened to Peter Parker. In this 2018 horror film about a grieving family who is haunted by tragic and disturbing occurrences, two girls at a party can be seen watching a silent film that features a guillotine, which foreshadows the brutal fate of Charlie minutes later, where her head was taken clean off by a pole. In Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Kylo Ren's boots leaves footprints in the salt, but Luke Skywalker doesn't, indicating that he was merely appearing as a projection of the Force. In Mad Max Fury Road, Nux's body paint fades away throughout the film as he regains more of his humanity. In Pixar 2006 animation film Cars, which is about alive talking vehicles, over in Radiator Springs in the background the canyons are old cars and hood ornaments. A small detail that is easy to miss: in the Lego Movie you frequently see characters with thumbprints on them, which hints to the twist at the end where their toys being controlled by humans. This detail in 2019's Joker is a bit dispiriting. When Arthur Fleck tries a hand at stand-up comedy, the comedy club where he performs is called Pogo's. True crime enthusiasts may recognize the name Pogo. It was his stage name of John Wayne Gacy, who was a serial killer and sex offender known as the Killer Clown who assaulted and murdered at least 33 young men. He used to perform at children's hospitals and charitable events as Pogo the Clown. A cool foreshadowing in Skyfall that you probably didn't pay much attention to happens during the opening credits. Editors superimposed Judi Dench's name over a gravestone. Later in the film, Dench's character dies. By now everyone knows that Pixar films are filled with Easter eggs and references, and Finding Nemo was no exception. In the dentist office you can see a kid waiting in the room while reading a comic book about The Incredibles, which hints at The Incredibles that was released a year later. In the IT movies there are many scenes where Pennywise can be seen lurking somewhere in the background. Like in the library when the creature poses as the librarian. Ben is reading about the town's history. The librarian can be spotted in the background staring at Ben, smiling and getting closer with each shot. First time watching you may miss it, but watching the film for a second time you will notice a lot of things you didn't see when you first watch it. In Black Panther, the final battle between Black Panther and Killmonger takes place on an actual underground railroad. In this 2018 horror thriller, sci-fi film where the world is taken over by sightless creatures who attacks anything that makes noise, in one scene while Abbott's salvaged things in the grocery store, a shelf is visible where most of the food is gone. Except for the bag of chips because they're very noisy, especially when opening them, and they would attract too much noise so everyone just left it there.